As many of Australia's high-flying entrepreneurs are meeting untimely fates at the mercy of the recession, there's at least one Queensland businessman who's going from strength to strength. His name is Peter Lawrence. He's the chairman of not one, but three major tourist enterprises. Tony Bragg reports.
Meet Peter Lawrence, corporate survivor, an entrepreneur who has defied the recession by getting on with business and letting his ego take a back seat. You see, unlike many of his corporate peers, Peter Lawrence seeks reward from his work rather than from the front pages of the newspapers.
I think the only important thing in business is to get on with business, and I don't think it matters a hang whether you're in the forefront of publicity or not. I think results talk louder than words.
And the results are certainly there. Since acquiring SeaWorld from Keith Williams in 1984, Peter and the companies he controls, the SeaWorld Property Trust and the Pivot Group, have gone from strength to strength. SeaWorld has been voted Australia's best theme park for 4 out of the past 5 years, and the latest joint venture for the SeaWorld Property Trust, Warner Brothers Movie World at Coomera, is sure to be another winner.
Because this is really Bugs Bunny's home here, Looney Tunes. And you can see most of them there, Porky Pig and Sylvester Stallone.
So you're a fan?
Sylvester the cat.
You're
25.
a fan, are you, Peter?
Yeah, I am, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think everyone loves cartoons.
Covering 86 hectares and costing more than $120 million to build, Movie World is Australia's answer to Universal Studios. When it officially opens on June the 2nd, it will give visitors the chance to experience the magic of the movies through a host of spectacular attractions, rides and shows.
I suppose it's pretty exciting for you seeing it all come together like this, Peter.
Absolutely. It's quite simply the best that's ever been seen in Australia, and quite frankly, it's probably as good as anything in the world.
While preparations for the opening of Movie World are taking up a lot of Peter's time these days, most of his efforts are being channelled into perhaps his most challenging role, that of chairman of the Queensland Tourist and Travel Corporation, which promotes Queensland tourism throughout the world.
I'm a slightly more hands-on at the QTTC, but that's because it's been left virtually rudderless for the last 12 months while the Kennedy report was being conducted. And I feel that it needs a much greater input from me, so I'm spending much more time in Brisbane at the Riverside Centre, guiding and shaping the policies for the next 10 years.
In his 3 roles at SeaWorld, Movie World and the QTTC, Peter oversees a staff of more than 1,000, which means he's on the go up to 12 hours every day.
It is hectic, I'd have to say that, although because each of them is such a remarkable challenge, I enjoy it enormously. And if you're doing what you like, and basically that's what I set out 20 years ago to do only what I like, and that's exactly what I'm doing. The challenge is enormous, and I've got to say that I never get tired in any of the jobs because they're also so fulfilling and challenging.
You've got more than 400 staff here at SeaWorld at any given time, goes up to, I believe, 700. Do you get to meet with many of them, mix with them socially?
I have a philosophy, Tony, that this is a people business, and so I like to get to know all of my staff. At 700, clearly that's difficult, but when I first came here in 1984, I made a philosophy that I was going to get to know every staff member by first name. If ever I don't address someone by first name, I ask them to say, I'm Bill and I make hamburgers, or I'm George and I'm a gardener, or I'm Jenny and I'm in retail. And that works very well here.
Like many of Australia's big corporate names, Peter, now 45, was born and bred in Perth. An economics graduate, he learnt the ropes under some of the biggest corporate names in the business, including a 5-year stint as personal assistant to old mate Alan Bond.
And certainly he was probably one of the most exciting and adventurous businessmen in Australia, so I learned a lot of positive things from Alan, but also I learned a lot of negative things, the kinds of things that you shouldn't do. So it was a learning curve that was not entirely devoid of showing me the pitfalls as well as the advantages of big business.
What advice would you give then to, say, a young person that wants to get to the position that say, Peter Lawrence is at? What do they do?
I would say persistence is probably the best advice I can give to young people. No matter what your aspiration or goal is, keep going at it, and ultimately it will fall into your lap.